Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a earlier than usual Monday night panel. Thank you, everybody that's been able to join us early. Reason for this is it's the FA Cup first round draw. So we're going on, so hopefully we can know as soon as possible who we've got and then have people's opinions on it. So just a few things from me, just from the Junior Reds. If any parent hasn't picked up their child's Junior Red pack yet, they are available on Saturday. No, it's not this Saturday, the 25th, on the Colchester game from the Junior Reds room, or from reception from 8 till 4 every day. So you can pick them up from there. We have got quite a few that haven't picked them up, so it'd be good to get them to the children while they're still around. Okay, so let's bring Vic on. Hi Vic, you there? Okay. Vic's not there for some reason. We've got a black shadow. So I'll go through what we've got coming up. So we've got the FA Cup draw, obviously, and we'll then talk about the weekend and how the results have favoured us, wasn't bad results for us. So we can go through that as well. But I'm going to put the panel on now, and then anything we need to say about SAS travel and things we can pick up shortly. So let's bring the panel on with a special guest. So we have Rob.
Good evening, Chris.
We have Gus. Hiya. We have our special guest, Lewis. We have Mark. We have
Hello.
Liam. We have Anna.
Everybody.
There is a few, so it'll take me a while. We've got Declan. And last but not least, we've got Vic, hopefully. Vic, are you with us?
Goodness me, what a day. I mean, I've got to say, I can't tell you how much stress I've been involved in this afternoon. We have terrible internet problems because of a certain internet provider, which I won't go into. So if anything goes wrong tonight, I'm very, very sorry, and apologies about that. I've got some SAS travel news for you. Not much to report. They've got very limited spaces for Accrington on Saturday. Of course, the team that knocked us out on penalties last year in the FA Cup, you might remember. They leave West Swindon at 7:30 on Saturday morning. That's AM. The county ground at 8 o'clock. They've got limited spaces left. Members £31, non-members £33. And whilst the internet works, I'd like to say thank you very much to Roy and to Heather for their hospitality this evening. And it meant a mad dash around the corner to be here and hopefully get the internet working. It's been crazy. Anyway, Lewis Ward, I'm delighted to have Lewis on with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And I was looking at some of the memories, your FA Cup memories. Of course, Manchester City at home. That must have been a big, big night.
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago now. Few seasons has gone in between that. I've come and gone a few times, but it's nice to be back. And I think hopefully the club needs a run in a cup this year. So hopefully the FA Cup we can replicate what we did a couple of years ago and get through the third round and draw a big team.
What do you remember of that night? I mean, it was a very special night for many respects. Obviously, it was Manchester City at home, huge crowd, but post-COVID as well, it was a great night for so many reasons, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I can remember the ground being packed, Stratton Bank being filled, obviously Man City fans, but all three home stands being filled. I can remember before the game, we were nervous that there were 21s were going to turn up because there was rumours of Pep had COVID. I think Grealish had COVID. There was rumours coming out left, right, and centre of most of their big hitters being down ill. And then the lineup that we played was, we were like, yeah, this is a full strength team. This could play in the Premier League. So let's have a go.
Penalty saves were kind of your speciality around about then, weren't they?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that I've been kind of branded as, really. So hopefully, not hopefully, they might be needed soon. But in the best possible way, I hope we get a good draw, get through to the next round. Hopefully I can have another penalty save at the county ground soon.
What's been the mood in the camp like? Because obviously you are going well. The results at the weekend were very much to your favour, weren't they? So what's the mood at the minute?
I think it's one of those where we're trying not to get too high when we win. We're not trying to get it's an old cliche, too low when we lose. Just we're trying to stay grounded. And I think the managers and the gaffers doing that for the lads. I think we're trying to stay level-headed. We know it's a long season. We're probably just over a quarter of the way through, really. So if we can replicate what we've done in the first 11 games 3 more times, we should be in a very good position come the end of the season. So yeah, I think we just got to keep taking each game at a time. I'm just throwing cliches left, right, and centre, but just that's the way it is. It's all about consistency in League Two, and each game as it comes, and tick another 3 points off hopefully on Saturday.
Obviously, these internet problems continue, so please join in anybody else who wants to ask anything, because you're all being...
We can hear you, Vic. You're fine.
Because obviously Devon is not connected to the internet at the minute.
You're back.
I just ask Lewis how the new additions have settled in over the last few weeks. Obviously, you've got young Adam Murphy. He's come down from Bristol, but he's been away with the Irish under 21s a lot lately, although he did get a call up to play against Newport there quite recently. But how much of a fresh injection have they given the group, Lewis, since they've arrived?
Yeah, I think it was one of those where we had a strong group and we lost a few to injuries. So, and they weren't exactly short-term injuries, so they needed to be replaced and fast. So the boys have settled in really well. Jamie's come in and started the last couple of games, done really well, and Adam's had to bide his time a little bit, but he was ready and waiting for the Newport game and came on to see the game out the other week. So they've settled in really well. Same with Palms and Tafts that came in on deadline day as well. So the group, we've got a good group, and all the teams that have been in and around that have made playoffs or been near promotion come the end of the season, the group is the most important bit. So we've got a good group and good core. So hopefully they'll get us through it.
Lewis, do you mind me asking something? What makes you keep coming back to Swindon? Is it 3 times now?
Yeah, it's my 3rd time back. I live 20 minutes from the county ground, 20 minutes from the training ground. So commute-wise, it's a lot nicer for me. I think it's one of those things where I've had a lot of unfinished business with the club, and the times that I've left haven't always been in my control and on my terms. Right. So being politically correct and saying things that I can say on this podcast, I think it's time for me to come back, and there was people in position to bring me back. So yeah, it's a club that I enjoy playing for. I live locally, so it ticks a lot of the boxes. Plus, yeah, I just enjoy the club. Just like
we're pleased to see you back anyway. I enjoyed your penalty save against Forest Green. That was a highlight for me in the last minute, I think, as I recall. That was very good.
At Christmas.
Lewis, yeah. I really picked up on the mature way that the boss is just managing you all. He seems to have that, because he is in his 60s and everything else. And that thing I was touched on last week wasn't it? You can decide what you're going to do, providing you beat Newport. That's what he came on the press about. And then therefore you all did different things this weekend, because basically you had a weekend off. You didn't have to come in for training. Am I right that there just seems to be a real, mature consultancy about this, or consulting with you all about this? He's still the boss, though, isn't he?
He's in charge. There's no doubt about that. He's in charge. If he didn't want us to give us time off, he wouldn't give us time off. Let's not beat around the bush with that. So he's very much a man manager. He's all about the player, sort of the mentality of the group. So he's he's very good at reading the lads and getting the best out of each other, out of the players and each of us every day. So come the Newport game, it was like, right, if you want days off, go win the game. It's simple as that. It's if you don't win, then you come in and run. So there's your motivation. There's your incentive. So yeah, it wasn't the probably the prettiest display at Newport from us, but I think we've shown in recent games where we've been able to win ugly, win by defending well and keeping clean sheets, and that's what we struggled with the first sort of five, 6 games, and we sort of turned a corner now. So we play nice football. We can do the dirty side as well and grind out results. So and that's a sign of a good team. So like I said earlier, if we can keep that going for the next, we got 35 games, then come the end of the season, we'll be in a really strong place.
I don't. Am I back with you all now? Can you still?
Yeah,
You are, Vic.
Yeah.
Right, I've changed machines now with a bit of luck. I've got to position myself so I can see the draw at the same time. So if my neck keeps going around, a bit like Twizzle in the old days, you're all too young to remember it. But we'll see what we can do. I'll just get that particular laptop over here, and then it will make life easier for me. So, right, lots of things coming in about who they want. Sean would like Truro City away. Not too far for me, obviously, or Rotherham away, new. Well, we've been to the New York Stadium, I think, a few years ago. If Truro are in their replay, of course. Banbury United at home, says Hannah. Yeah, Sean says, Department S song, is Vic there? Yes, he is at the minute. Mark says, you're a top goalkeeper, Lewis Ward, and I'm glad you're back at Swindon Town. I mean, 3 times now. I think Dick Whittington was Mayor of London for 3 times, so you've equalled that. What's it like being back now compared to when you first came?
It feels very similar to the first time I sort of signed. That pre-season when the takeover went through, there was a lot of positivity. Everything was sort of going in the right direction. I think that kind of bred and bled onto the pitch. With the year that we had, we were unlucky, obviously, that year, and arguably should have got to Wembley, and I think we should have got promoted that year. And I think coming back now, there is that positivity again. And a lot of it is the gaffer. He breeds a lot of that, and we've got a good group, which we're always looking forward and next step. And I think that's the biggest difference compared to my middle stint. That was a bit. It didn't feel right that time, and things didn't sit well, and there was things going on that a lot of people will know more than me about, and there was just not a nice feeling around the club. So yeah, for me to come back, it had to feel right. And I think my first day speaking to the gaffer, he kind of gave me that impression. So that's why I wanted to come back again.
Weston-super-Mare have got Aldershot Town. Oh, Aldershot Town, they're gone. Thank goodness for that. Memories of those.
I don't like them at home.
Yeah, I was there that day. That wasn't a fun day.
No, it wasn't a fun day. So Salford are at home to Lincoln. So we await ball number 44, which is the one that we're looking for. Lewis, which one are you after? Who do you fancy?
I'll take any. I mean, what the fans want. If you want a local derby, Forest Green, Bristol Rovers. I mean, Reading would be a good one. Old team for me. I mean, I could say that about half the league. But yeah, so I'm not too fussed really. It'd be nice to go somewhere. We owe Cardiff. We could have Cardiff at home. We should have beaten them. Should have beaten them in the cup. So to get them in the FA Cup and show them what we're really about would be good.
Well, Forest Green are away at Luton should they beat Worthing tonight, so that's where they are. Accrington Stanley are away at Gainsborough Trinity or Hartlepool United. So there you go. We won't get Accrington Stanley in the first round 2 weeks after we played them in the league like last year. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, do all players look forward to this, Lewis? Do they all look forward to this first round draw?
I think so. I think it's one of those where, like we've seen, the FA Cup is a special competition. It's the competition that everyone looks for. It just is what everyone sort of dreams of playing in. So it can be hit and miss. I've played in games where you lost to non-league sides, which is not great. But on the day they deserve to win, so it's fantastic for them. And obviously they're giving everything to beat a league team because it's an upset. It's what the FA Cup's about. So I think it's one of those where anything can happen, and anyone could beat anyone, providing they're on their game that day. So I think we've got to be careful with whoever we get. It's not going to be a walk in the park, and we've got to make sure that we're on our game to beat whoever we get in the draw.
You mentioned earlier about a third round FA Cup draw. I mean, everybody dreams of that, don't they? And getting through to draw a big team, especially when you're a team in form. I mean, you'd fancy it then, wouldn't you? You fancy sort of, picking up a big scalp. That would be a really good thing to add to what is already a successful looking season.
100%. The FA Cup's a chance to breed more confidence. It's a chance to keep going on a run you're already on. We've won the last couple. Can we keep winning? Go undefeated for a number of games, and again, you beat a team in the FA Cup from the league above. It just gives you more confidence, and you just keep going. So, yeah, it's important to win these games, and like for the squad again. Who knows what the gaffer will do, but it's a chance potentially for other players to get a run out. And again, like I said, once the squad gets changed around and you've got confidence in whoever is on the pitch to win, then I'm repeating myself, but it's a sign of a good team.
Reading are at home to Carlisle. So a nice little trip for Carlisle United. So we won't be going to Reading. Bromley next out. We're still waiting ball number 4. Bristol Rovers are away at Bromley.
Bristol Rovers at Bromley, yeah.
Yeah. So we won't be going there. Cheltenham are at home to Bradford.
Looking at this.
So a lot of the local teams have already gone. Peterborough United next out, but Swindon haven't got them either. So, goodness me, we're always sort of seems to me right at the end of the draw, and it's an agonising thing about that. You mentioned Cardiff City, of course, Lewis. You came on in that. How difficult is that to do? Because Ollie Palmer had to come in late at Newport, didn't he? But how difficult is that to come in late in a game, as it were?
For an outfield player, I would say it's slightly easier because you can run about, you can get yourself into game, you can fly into a tackle. For a goalie, you've got to get your eyes in straight away. The first shot, everything really. I hadn't caught a ball since the warm-up with Mildy before the game. So you've got to just go into it. I think what was slightly easier for me was we were already 2-0 down. There was not really a lot of pressure on. But you still want to do well. You still want to keep the team in the game. So, yeah, it's not the easiest, but with sort of the games that I've got now and places that I've been, I'm more than ready to sort of step into that role and help out when I can.
Well, we still await Chelmsford City next out, so that's not us either. It's a long and agonising wait. So we've got Accrington Stanley away on Saturday. Lewis, how do you see that one?
Again, it's anyone can beat anyone in this league. We've got to make sure that we prepare right. And we prep the game as we have been doing for the last couple, where we've turned out really well. So we just got to prep it like any normal game and go at it and with confidence because of where we are, and take the game to them and hopefully come away with 3 points.
Well, Wycombe are at home against Plymouth Argyle, so a nice little trip for Argyle up the A38, then the M5, and then along. But still we await Swindon. So it goes on this first round draw, doesn't it?
Exeter come out yet, Vic?
Sorry?
Have Exeter come out yet?
No, they haven't. And I'm not saying anything, Mark, because... yes, they have. They're away at Halifax Town. Darn it.
I like that one. And Cheltenham's been pulled out as well, so we're not going there either.
No, we're not going
Vic's
there.
internet's quicker than TNT.
Slough Town home against Altrincham or Harbour. We're not going to Slough either. Memories of Exeter for you, Lewis, of course. The wind tunnel game You remember that because you came on. You came in late for Johnny Maxted. I seem to remember.
Yeah, that was my first game back after breaking my arm, and yeah, that was a windy day. I thought coming in at half time, I thought perfect. The wind's turned around and it just stopped. So that wasn't exactly fun, but yeah, it was a really, really horrible day. That I can remember kicking one out for a corner behind me.
Hang on. We're away at Rotherham. We have Rotherham away in that first round. We're going to the New York Stadium, Lewis. How do you fancy that?
Yeah, it's. I've not been there, so it'll be a nice day out for me. But it'd be a good test for us and to show where we are. And again, like I said, beating a team in the league above will breed confidence.
Excellent. Well, that's the result of our first round draw. It went on a bit, but we're away at Rotherham United. Going back to that Exeter game then, Johnny Maxted gets injured in the warm-up. Archie Collins, I remember, seemed to get in the way and give us an opening goal, which was very kind of him.
Yeah, corner came in, I punched it, and he decided to jump late and then bounced off the back of his head, I think. And I think Owen Doyle tried to claim his 55th goal of the season that year. But I don't think he actually got that one. But yeah, it was a really horrible day. Really horrible day. Similar to sort of the conditions we had Newport the other day. But yeah, hopefully we don't have too many days like that at the county ground again.
Well, we appreciate your time, Lewis, and for hanging on whilst A, internet problems, and B, the length of the draw. But Rotherham United away in a couple of weeks' time. We appreciate your time, because especially when you've got a few days off. Have you filled it with anything glamorous, or what have you been up to?
I've spent the last 4 days on top of my roof putting tiles up, so no.
Is that does insurance cover you for that, Lewis? Is it?
Yes, I did clear it with the club.
Did the boss know you were on the roof?
Yeah, no. I did clear it with the club. They said, yeah, that's fine. And I said, well, if you want someone to go up there, you need to pay me more, because I need to pay them. So if I'm going to go up there, I'm going to have to do it myself.
Fair enough. Well, Lewis, we appreciate your time, and don't go up on the roof now, it's dark. So that's the end of that, really. And,
I'm all done for the day. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Okay. Great to see you.
All
the best to you.
Thank you.
Well, Lewis Ward, what a treat, and we wish him well for the remainder of the season. He's a very popular player, isn't he, Rob? He's one of these players that's been 3 times back to the county ground, but people still have a lot of affection for him.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those players, isn't it? You've sort of, he's grown up with the fabric of the club over the last decade, pretty much, and he's highlighted it himself in his comments today. We've all been through some pretty tough times over the last 10 years, haven't we, in terms of supporting this football club. And obviously Lewis has played in an era when that was an extremely dark time, and you can tell the difference now in the tone that he used in that interview, that things are not like they were a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it might have been. Things are on the up now, and we should all take great pleasure in that, because they were a horrible couple of years, weren't they?
Okay, Rotherham away then, Rob. What's your thoughts on that one?
It's not the one I'd have picked. I know a few people who do like that one, because it's a ground they haven't been to, but we've been there before. It's a fair old trek, and it's again, it's a northern club. It is at least somebody not in our division, because if I were to have one thing that I don't want in the FA Cup first round draw, is to play somebody you're playing during the season, because it's just too much. Like last year when we went to Accrington twice in 3 weeks, it was just stupid to do that. So thankfully we've avoided somebody in our division. Rotherham, it will be a tough test. They're half decent side, there's no doubt about that, but not having quite the same impact on League One this year as they did last time they were in it, when they came down from the Championships. They do tend to fluctuate quite a lot, so we can go up there and give it a good old go, because we won't be favourites. And we all wanted a big third round draw, but we've got you'd probably say one of the bigger teams in round 1. So let's go out there and have a go.
Yeah, I've got a message from Joe Merriman here. He says, how long before Mark goes into a rant about wanting Swindon to become a cup team again, like the good old days? We'll get to that in a minute. Gus, you're a newbie completely to this. You're completely to this competition, aren't you? This is like, well, a new dawn for you, the FA Cup.
It's all new. I literally, Chris texted me a couple of things that we were going to talk about, and it said FA Cup, and I had to Google it. I had no idea what it was. And I Googled it, and in one of our previous shows, I said I wasn't very fond of the cups because I feel like we should be focusing on promotion. But honestly, I'm changing my tune. The more I read about the FA Cup, the more I read about its history. I love the David and Goliath element of it. That's something everybody likes to see, an underdog have a chance to beat the big team. I think it's really exciting. I think the other thing that's really exciting about it is we have a packed roster. I think with these cup games, usually, and I'm open to being corrected because I don't really know what I'm talking about at all. But, you try to hold out your best people because they're going to be playing in 3 or 4 days in another game that really matters for promotion. I feel like we have so many good players. We can pack our roster with really, really good players, and the other teams are going to be holding out their better players because they're going to have to play in 3 or 4 days. So I give us a good chance. I mean, why not Swindon? Let's go deep. Let's win a couple of games, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, Mark, that's a very good point, isn't it? A couple of seasons back, you'd have had your first 11, and then you would have struggled to have anybody on the bench to make a difference. But nowadays, you have got a strong team, and it's often said that even a second 11 would do well at the minute. I mean, what's your view on that?
Yeah, I quite agree, Vic. I mean, if you look back probably 2 or 3 seasons, I can remember being at Forest Green away in August and looking around on the bench and thinking, who have we got to actually impact and change the game? We had a load of kids and 1 or 2 others, and that was about it. And we did win the game 2-1. And then you look at the bench now, and it's a proper bench, isn't it? You look at, Wardy obviously is a really good keeper, and then you look at 6 outfield players, all of whom could make a difference in one way or another, plus a couple. I think last time he left out Mbete and McGregor from the 18. So, it's changed and superbly and fantastically this season to be not just a strong 11, 12, 13, but a strong 18, 20, which is exactly what you want. And which is why people like me are thinking perhaps this could be our year in terms of promotion. And going back to the FA Cup, of course, yeah, we do want a cup run. Man City a couple of years ago was magic, wasn't it? A full house on a Tuesday night, as I recall, and just a brilliant atmosphere as it is at the County Ground when it's full. I would dearly love a trip to a big Premier League side away in the 3rd round, if nothing else, just to experience the likes of the new Spurs ground or Old Trafford or something. I'd dearly love to go there because, of course, in the old days, we used to be a renowned cup team.
We did. That beat the likes of West Ham United with World Cup winners, and apparently that's just what Joe wanted. A bit of a rant about
That's why I said it.
Liam, what about your thoughts on that? It's a long old trip, but we have been to the New York Stadium before. I remember us winning 4-0 when Steve Evans was manager there and played really, really well that day. So it's not unknown ground for some of us.
They're struggling at the moment. I see they're 3rd bottom, level on points with Reading. And we beat them recently. So, I mean, they are a bit of a yo-yo team, aren't they? At that level, which is what Rob was talking about, really. Why not? Let's go for it. And when are we playing West Ham? Will that be the week before, will it? It's around that time, isn't it? So
it is the 28th we're playing West Ham, I think.
Same week then. Yeah. Same week. So, I mean, Gus, your point that there'll be an awful lot of players from the players that can't get in at the moment, particularly the 3 at the back, who've all played a few games actually, but they'll be available. And I suspect Lewis will play on the Tuesday night against West Ham. So actually, people will be rested ahead of that Saturday game. And I think we should go for it. I think I'm without ranting like the Merriman family like to do over cup. Oh, look at that! You can tell me all about it in the colours. But I think we should go for it, and I think we should. There's money to be made here, isn't there? Money to be made.
Yeah, what about that, Anna? Because obviously the league is the priority, and we'll talk about the weekend's results in a minute. But the league is the priority. But if you can add a cup run in there, that's got to be of added spice, isn't it?
I think it's less about a cup run, to be honest, in my view, and more about momentum. And I've talked about this before, that if you're doing well in the league and you come across some cup games, then you want to keep that momentum going. So to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with Rotherham away. I take the point that we didn't want another League Two club. Having faced someone we've got to face a couple of times already in the season. But if you look across our cup record, as we know, in the last 15 years, 10 years, certainly since De Canio, it is incredibly poor. We've had a lot of defeats against non-league sides. I hope the mentality will be better this time round. And I just harking back to the visit to Cardiff earlier this season. We didn't put on a good show in the first half, if you remember, and that was what killed us. Really, it's killed us a few times, hasn't it, in the first half performances in recent times. So we've really got to come out of the traps, and absolutely go for it, because there's you want to just sustain that and hopefully get into the third round. But more for me, it's about the momentum, which then carries back through to the league. And bear in mind, I think those few weeks there, we've got Tuesday, Saturday, haven't we? Because we've got the rearranged Notts County game, then we've got a weekend game, then we've got a Tuesday game, then we've got the Rotherham fixture away. So, but let's hope we take a few up there as well. Support the team and hopefully shout us through.
Well, from what I'm seeing on here, there are many comments from people saying that they've not been there before. So I guess there will be a few going up, and the cup always adds a few, doesn't it? So we'll see. Declan, will you be heading to South Yorkshire?
I won't be heading to South Yorkshire, Vic. It certainly would have been had it been reversed at the county ground. And you're talking about great away days in the cup. I mean, I'm sure some of my fellow panelists might even have been at Fulham back in the day when Danny Wilson was in charge. We had a great day out there, even though we didn't win the game. But look, the FA Cup is magical, and this is a competition that's been going on since August. A lot of teams have battled very, very hard to get through to this particular stage of the competition. I don't think Rotherham would have fancied coming out against us, to be honest. The form that we're in at the moment, we'll take it. It's going to be a difficult game, but look, we want to advance. We want to have the opportunity to bring a Manchester City or whatever, perhaps to the county ground. Do we want to go in reverse? Because of course we don't have FA Cup replays anymore or anything like that. So still a great competition, very romantic competition. And we'll be confident that we can go up there and do ourselves justice in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. It's a good thing we have a stronger squad, says Nick, as probably some of the loan players won't be allowed to play. It's a fair point, I guess. Whether Bristol City say that they wouldn't want the two players from their place to play as well in that particular one. So we know it's Rotherham United away in the first round of the FA Cup in a couple of weeks' time. We'll discuss that, I'm sure, when we get nearer to it. Let's talk about a no-run called Linnets, which I'm desperately disappointed about, because what a great name. That's it, really. Right, if we could have your FA Cup memories, that would be fantastic. We've got another hour to go. Sean says, seeing comments saying rubbish draw. How's it rubbish? Tell me what glamour there is then in this round, which is a fair point, I think. Right. So, FA Cup memories, please. Good and bad. Send them in and we'll discuss them. But let's have a look at the league table. This is the League Two table after Saturday's results. Walsall on top, 26 points from 12 games, goal difference of 8. Swindon second, 24 points from 11 games, goal difference of 9. And then in third place, Gillingham, 22 points from 12 games with a goal difference of 7. And then in the playoffs, it's MK Dons, 21 from 12, Grimsby, 21 from 12, Chesterfield, 21 from 12, and Barnet, 20 from 12. Walsall drew at Crawley. Could have been better. Harry McCurdy missed a penalty. Where have we heard that before? Can't remember. Good set of results, Rob.
Yeah, we can't grumble, can we? It must be said. That was it was one of those weekends where, with us not playing, we could have found ourselves even outside the playoff zone after being first and second over the course of the last couple of weeks. So for us to maintain our position and everybody else having played another game, because let's be honest, our game in hand is not an easy one. Notts County are a decent side, and they took us apart on both occasions last season, didn't they? So it's they've got a team that we need to man up against when we play him in the game. And thankfully, no David McGoldrick to play against this time around, which is quite useful. But I think we can't look too far ahead of where we are at this moment in time. And the fact that we get a nice little break with all these games coming up, I think is going to do us the world of good. Everyone's mentioned the strength of the squad, and absolutely right now. It's so much better to see seven people on the bench who can make a difference to your team. And Ian Holloway said it himself, hasn't he? He wants finishers. He wants starters and he wants finishers. So every one of those players on the bench has got a role to play. And there are players out of the squad at the minute who've also got a role to play. So the more games we have as a squad at the moment, the more you're going to keep those players happy. So we need a run in the FA Cup. We need a run in the EFL Trophy if we can get one, because that's just more games for these other players who aren't playing regularly. We've bemoaned over many years, the fact that we have no reserve league anymore. So you don't get the match time if you don't have games in these little trophies to keep going with. So it's lovely that we're in a great position in the league. I do want a cup draw that's going to give us a run through a couple of rounds as well, and that will only build the excitement to get more people in the county ground, which is what we need now. 4 home games in 5 we've got. That would have been 5 in 5 if we'd have got a home draw in the FA Cup. Can you imagine the what that would have been like if we had 5 consecutive home games? That would be bizarre, wouldn't it, at this stage of the season? But it could have happened. It's not going to be the case now. But we want everybody down there at the county ground now. We want everybody out there to make sure that we can start to put those points on the board and get ourselves away from everyone else.
It was almost on a path to 6 away games in a row in the 85-86 season, which I think we won all 6, if memory serves. Daz says the last time we played them away, Saturday, October the 12th, 2013, 3 o'clock, Rotherham nil, Sunderland 4, EFL League One. Terrific performance it was. Just to run through the rest of those results which affected the top teams on Saturday. Bristol Rovers 0, MK Dons 4. Grimsby 1, Colchester 2, Chesterfield 2, Salford 0, and Tranmere 0. Barnet 2, who seem to be creeping up there. Gus, did you keep an eye on the weekend results?
I must confess I did not, but you're telling me a lot of things that are very helpful. And I know what Rob just said, we're 2 games away from being in 7th or 9th place, 2 bad games. It's very fragile. We need to win more. We need to stay intense. And our next 4 games are absolutely games we can win. They're absolutely games that we can lose. The teams we're playing are ranked in our table 20th, 13th, 16th, and 19th. And it's easy to get complacent, right? At that point, you think you're looking beyond that. You're looking at these cup games. You're looking at other things. It would be amazing if we won all 4. It would be quite possible to lose 2 of them. So it's going to be quite a battle. And, as you said, the other teams are gunning for us and gunning to get to the top as hard as they can. It's going to, we need to fight for this. We need to fight.
It's a great position to be in, though, isn't it, Gus? I mean, I have to say, since you started watching Swindon, don't ever stop. Can I just say that? Because they've done okay since you came on board. So we're very pleased about that. I mean, you've not really been through any misery yet, have you?
No, I mean, I really haven't. There have been a few losses that you knew we should have won. We just, we left so much on the table, but no, I mean, nothing like you guys. I can see the scars and the anguish and, but also the hope and the enjoyment and the knowledge that, someday there will be a big, big promotion. And, so it's just fun to be on board with you guys and to kind of experience what you've already experienced so many times.
Yeah, maybe the positive stuff, not the rest of it. That would be. You don't deserve that, Gus. You're too nice. Mark, I mean, what's your view on the results of the weekend? I mean, we're in a very good position with a game in hand behind Walsall. Very kind of Scott Lindsay's Crawley to draw with them, but they could have won, which would have made it even better. So, what's your thoughts on that?
It's been a really positive start, hasn't it? We're all sitting here and we're enjoying being in second place, and a couple of times when we've actually been top of the table. But it's 11 games gone and it's 35 to go. And it's a long way to go. It's a long old road, isn't it? And going back to a point made earlier about complacency, I don't think Holloway will allow a Swindon team to be complacent about anything. I think he'll get them to fight for everything. But having said that, I can't work out whether a week off is a good thing or a bad thing, because it kind of interrupts our momentum potentially. So it could be a bad thing, but then gives the squad a break. So it could be a good thing. It's hard to know until we see the players take the pitch at Accrington, which, by the way, will be a really difficult game. It's always a difficult game at Accrington. They go man for man in midfield. They're really difficult. They're combative. So we've got to match that. And I think that's been our problem in the past when we played the so-called lesser teams like Harrogate, Bromley, Accrington. We've lost. Take last year, we got a point, I think, against Bromley. We got a point against Harrogate. We've already got more points against both of those teams than we did last season. So that's reason to be positive. We then need to do the same against Accrington. And I think 2 toughish home games against Notts County and Colchester are improving. Notts County, you're right, Rob, without David McGoldrick, I don't think they're the same team. They're still going to be a good side, but not the same. And Colchester are improving. So 7 points out of 9 would be a good return, wouldn't it? You know, a couple of wins, perhaps 6 wouldn't be bad. Just got to keep that momentum going, I think.
Hi, Gary. Fulham away in the late 70s, 3-1 up at half-time, and then Bestie and Marsh decided to come out and play. It ended up 3-3. The replay would beat them 5-0. Yeah, Will Dixon kicked Bestie off the pitch. Still, George Best hit the crossbar from about 35 yards out, if I seem to remember.
He was fat by then.
What?
He was fat by then, wasn't he?
He was fat and drunk. And
Yeah.
Trevor Anderson exercised his ghost and nutmegged him. That was my favourite, that 5-0.
That was a great night.
Anderson was always Bestie's understudy, wasn't he, for Man United and for Northern Ireland?
Yeah.
And he was brilliant that day.
That was the Everton game, wasn't it, that season?
It was,
2-2.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a great night. I mean, it was a fabulous FA Cup tie, and they were the Fulham team.
For Fulham, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was amazing. Where are we at, Liam? Yes. So, your reaction to the weekend's results?
Great. I've just had a quick look to see who's playing who this weekend, and I see that MK Dons are playing Crewe, and Gillingham are playing Grimsby. So 4 of the top 8 are playing each other again. There's a nice juicy game at the bottom, Newport versus Cheltenham, and of course we're playing Accrington, who are just above them. So it is going to be a tough game, as Mark has mentioned. I think we just got to beat who's in front of us, because we haven't played many of the top teams. Point I was going to make tonight, Vic, was all 3 defeats have been to late goals. Really, if you think Barnet, okay, they got the 2, but they got the 2 effectively on 90 minutes, and Salford and Walsall both won with late winners. Having, we'd fought back in those 2 games. And then the other point I was going to say is Rob's comment about getting through the rounds. I've just picked up there's 45 grand if we win the first round, and 75 grand if we win the second round. So we get to the third round, we've already earned 120 grand, which with the way let's not forget, we're still tight with money at the county ground and everything else that's going on. So keep winning, and we'll keep getting the points. And don't you get 50% of the attendances as well, don't you?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's what's always baffled me, is the fact that clubs don't take that amount of money into consideration when they play weakened teams, all that kind of stuff. It always baffled me, that, Liam.
Yeah, good point. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You've got to do what's in front of you. These are all cliches, and a lot of clubs did us a few favours on Saturday. We've now got to win the game in hand against Notts County Tuesday week, end of.
Tuesday night on the 21st, indeed it is. So we're looking forward to that very much indeed, and let's hope it's a really good game of football. And the weekend's results obviously have gone the way of Swindon. How pleased were you come full time to see them?
Yeah, I mean, it's so early days, isn't it, in the season? As we just said earlier, we're not even, we're just about a quarter of the way through. So much more to come. And I think this season, more than perhaps other seasons in the recent past, we've got teams which are there to challenge. We've got a few basket cases towards the bottom again potentially, but even Cheltenham going to come out of that bracket now that Steve Cottrell's taken over. But MK Dons, Colchester, Gillingham, they're all gonna be up there or thereabouts. Even Crewe, Grimsby. So I think that pack of 8 to 10 teams at the top are all gonna perhaps, there won't be a runaway leader as there was last season. despite the fact that then everyone reeled Walsall back in, or they reeled themselves back in. So it's you can't help looking at the table, but it's just so early days. All we can do at this point is keep winning. And I think the points that we've made a little bit earlier about, bit of momentum, bit of focus on first half performances, making sure we're really putting it out there in the first half, not being complacent against those teams towards the bottom of the table like Accrington. And I'm fully on board with Holloway. When he says, "What are they doing singing top of the league at this point of their season? What's up to them in it?" But when we start games, and we're already singing we're top of the league after about 30 seconds or whatever it was we scored was it Barrow or was it Crewe, the early goal? Can't remember when we went top of the league. We start singing it straight away then. Let's sing it at the end of the game. I just really hate it when we start singing it at the beginning of the game. Let's do it when the game's over, when the wind's done and dusted, when we've got 3 points under, in our pockets. But let's just not be complacent. Let's focus on the job in hand. Make sure we execute game plans, change as necessary. Accrington will not be an easy game, as we've just said. They'll be doing their homework just as well as we have. Stop Kilkenny playing through the middle, etc. So, yeah, I'm really, really happy, obviously, with how it's going so far. But it's a fragile position as with a lot of teams.
We all remember Danny Butterworth's goal at Accrington last season. That was pretty special, wasn't it? There's one chant that really annoys me: the 2-0 and you bleeped it up, and then you can bet a bottom dollar that within 30 seconds you're 3-2 down. I mean, it's just that's the way it is. Declan, can I ask you about the Irish connection? Aaron Drinan, who is in magnificent form. He's got the Player of the Month, deservedly so. What is it about him this season, do you think?
Oh, first of all, congratulations to him on those awards. Thoroughly deserved for a start. And I had mixed emotions about the county game being called off last Saturday because obviously, as we know, he pulled out of the Newport game the week before with the Achilles tendon injury. We weren't sure about the nature of that and how long potentially it could have kept him out for. But he's had a week off now, so hopefully he's back and fit and in contention for Saturday at Accrington, and I'm sure he'll start. I said earlier on in our previous grouping, which seems a long time ago now, that he was like a new player for us this season, rejuvenated, having come back after the injury, the faith that Ian Holloway has in him as a person and as a player, and he's repaying him in spades. And we all, well, most of you were at the Barnet game. I watched it on television when Harry went down and suffered the unfortunate injury that he did, and so early into the season you're thinking, oh, this could be a real blow to us. But in fairness to Aaron, he's really stepped up to the plate, taking the bull by the horns with the assistance of Ollie Palmer and other players as well in the team. It's just fantastic to see, and I'm absolutely delighted for the lad on a personal level, and long may it continue, because I think he could be a key point to the potential success that we have this season.
Yeah, we'll ask Mark about him in a little while, because I know what he feels about him. And I think the thing is, Declan, that many people feel that if he'd not got injured last season, the playoffs would have been a possibility. Is that your thought?
Yeah, I think that's a realistic opinion to have. And if you look at I think it's around about now is Holly's first anniversary in charge of the club.
25th of October, the Colchester game.
25th of October coming up, yeah. We had 11 points, I think, when he came. We ended up with, 62 last season? Little break or two in a game more, and who knows what might have happened. But yeah, I think it's more than reasonable to suggest that had Aaron not suffered the injury that he had last season, that things may have been a little bit different. And that's why it's important that the injury that he has at the moment is minimalistic, and he can go through the rest of the season without being hampered by injury.
Rob, player of the season so far, or have you got another candidate?
I think he's got to be up there, hasn't he? Let's be honest. I mean, I don't think any of us really expected him to have quite the impact that he's had this season. However good his performances were towards the period before he got injured at the end of last season. I remember him taking Carlisle apart virtually single-handedly up there when he came off the bench. But Oh no, he's just been fantastic, hasn't he? It's got to be said. We did need, as what Declan's just said, we needed someone to step up to the plate once Harry Smith, who literally was our focal point, wasn't he? He was our focal point for all attacks. We needed somebody to step up and take on that mantle. And it's not just him. In some respects, it's horrible to say it from his perspective, but the fact that Harry Smith's got injured has meant that we've had to play a different way. We've had to play a different style, and it's suited a lot more players. If we think about that Barnet game when he got injured, it was the most horrible night, wasn't it? It was a horrible performance that night. It's probably the only horrible performance of the season so far, really. So, in many respects, the form of Aaron Drinan has been mirrored by the way that Swindon have started to play since that Barnet evening, and he's gone on and thoroughly deserved that Player of the Month award last month, and long may this goal run continue, because let's be honest, he's going to be. You've got to credit Ian Holloway, haven't you? Because at the end of last season, having had a big injury, it would have been very easy to have discarded him. However good his performances were before that injury, he very much would have wanted a player who was going to be fit for 46 games a season, and he couldn't have been sure of that when Aaron Drinan signed that contract based on his injury. But look at this spirit he's getting back from him and the return that he's given him. I think he must be absolutely delighted that he convinced Drinan to stay on at the county ground this season, and we're reaping the benefits.
Yeah, Gus, I mean, from a long, long way away, who have you thought is the player of the season? Obviously, we've mentioned Drinan. Have you got any other candidates?
Well, it's very hard to argue with Aaron Drinan. He is an outstanding player. He's really played well. The only this is crazy to say. I wouldn't take anything away. I want him to have every goal he has and more. But the scoring hasn't been very even. We've had 13 people score goals. He scored 8. Glatzel and Palmer have 2 each, and then 10 players have 1 each. You know, when he doesn't play against Newport County, we barely beat a bottom of the table team by 1 goal. You know, so we need to get everybody involved, including him. But to answer your actual question, I would also throw out Finley Monroe as a possibility. He's the only one of 2 players who has played 90 minutes in all 11 games, the other being Ripley, league games, of course. He leads the team in crosses with 81. I mean, crossing is how you score a lot of times, with 81, which is more than the next 4 combined. So he has really been out there. He leads the team in tackles, successful tackles. He also leads the team in yellow cards and fouls. So he is out there working hard. He is out there running hard literally every minute of every game. They play different roles. It's hard to compare the two, but they're just outstanding players.
Yeah, I think he's gone under the radar a little bit. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Can I just throw somebody else into the mix here and we kind of fly the Irish flag proudly once again? Is young Gav Kilkenny in the middle of the park. Again, somebody who's blossomed under the leadership of Holloway once he's got the freedom to play, and he's been a key man so far this season for us as well.
Quietly efficient, just gets on with it. Very good. My player of the season.
They just seem to go under the radar, don't they? I mean, Monroe is absolutely spot on. You know, he provided the cross for Ollie Palmer at Newport. It was a cracking cross. You know, and Joe Snowden as well, we should give a mention to. You know, these are young players who are coming into League 2 football and, you know, finding it pretty good for them. Mark, I know what you're going to say about Aaron Drinan, because you were pretty well converted last year, weren't you?
I'm a big Aaron Drinan fan, and I was last season. What I see in Aaron Drinan is a very good, honest, hard-working pro, and whilst that should be the absolute limit for everybody should be a hard-working pro. I think he just works extra hard. And if you went to the Newport game, what you've noticed is that we didn't get behind their defence. We passed it quite a lot in front of them for the first 20 minutes. Then when they got wise to that, it was difficult to get out against the wind. In the second half, it was pretty ugly, and we didn't have the opportunity to get the ball down. Declan rightly mentioned Gavin Kilkenny, who I think is right up there too. He's been tremendous. He's a really good. He's better than a League 2 player, I think. But Drinan's a big miss. He's a big miss when he doesn't play, because you're then left with Palmer, who's obviously got his own attributes. Glatzel works hard, but it's Drinan who's the one who gets behind teams. And it's no accident that when he was injured towards the end of last season, our form went off. So we need those sorts of players to run in behind teams, get behind them, get down the wing, cross the ball. He's got quite a lot of pace. I don't think people give him credit for that. And, Prince may come into his own as well, but Driner's experience, and I'm delighted for the bloke that he's got 8 goals. I just hope it continues, and I hope the Achilles injury that Declan referred to isn't a serious one. We were all surprised and disappointed, obviously, when he dropped out last minute against Newport. Didn't know why it was at the time. Somebody mentioned hamstring, but it turns out it's an Achilles, and hopefully it's one of those that settles down with a week or two off, and he's back to playing on Saturday. Because for me, he's a shoo-in in the first 11. He must get into the first 11 every time. He'd be one of my first players on the team sheet, to be perfectly honest, because of his attitude, his never say die spirit. He runs all day. He's got a bit of quality as well. I don't think people should underestimate that. When he came down to Swindon a few years ago with Harry Smith, they both played for Orient. They absolutely ripped us a new one, the two of them together. So, I think he's got a lot of quality, and I'm really pleased. I just hope his scoring form continues. But I take what Gus said also. Other players must join in. If we're going to go up, I suspect we're going to need a 20 goal a season, and maybe somebody chips in with a 12 or 15. Could be Ollie Palmer. Obviously, won't now be Harry Smith. Greatest respect to Glatzel. I don't think it's going to be Glatzel. So, somebody's probably got to chip in some more goals.
John Stevens has been in touch, our beloved background marker. So here we go. Not too much to say, as unbelievably Rob wins this week. How about that?
That's a first.
Yeah. Gus needs to knit a scarf as soon as possible. More prominent XTC stuff, please, Liam. And what's happened to me? Are you in a shed? Well, I've bored everybody with this story before, so I'll bore you all again. We have real internet problems down here in Devon, and so therefore Roy and Heather have very kindly put me up for the evening in their back bedroom. So that's the reason. And Roy kindly hung some shirts up for me, look, in preparation. So he did his best. So there we are. Please note that I am no longer the Northern correspondent. He's back in Devizes. So he's back with us in the county of Wiltshire. So there we are. Liam, you kind of told us that you think Kilkenny's your player of the season. Who else has caught your eye?
Can I ask, are those shirts your shirts or your mate's shirts?
Some are Roy's and some are mine. So it was kind of mix and match, really. Yeah.
There are 2 town supporters in Devon.
He lives around the corner from me, yeah. Seriously.
Wow.
Yes, I know.
Wow, I'm impressed. Two town supporters in Devon, right? Well, Kilkenny has just been quietly efficient, hasn't he? He just gets on with it. Got a great engine, works all the way through. I think Anna and Mark hear this every game. I'm going about how good he is. I'll tell you who's also improved is Stuart Ripley, because he didn't have the best of starts, and there was some concerns about.
Do you mean Connor Ripley, not Stuart?
Stuart's his dad. Stuart's his dad, isn't he? For the older viewers, but forgive me. Sorry, Connor, but he didn't have the best of starts, but he is really solid now. And when he signed originally, wasn't it? It was all about the spine and what he would bring to the team. And I think there's a solidity there and his leadership at the back. And I think it's really important. Great respect to Lewis, but he's got a good guy that's keeping him out of the team, really. And I think that's worthy of note as well. It's just everything that we talked about even earlier, that this is what Ollie and the team and the management team have brought to everything, isn't it? They've brought a really good squad. There's some strength in depth, and it's the best it's been for a long time. And Gus, you are a lucky charm, my friend. You really are. Got to keep that going, I think.
Anna, I'm going to mention the word Travazzoli to you, because had he been there from the start of the season, he'd have been up there as a candidate, wouldn't he? But he's been kind of impeccable, hasn't he, the last 2 games?
Yeah, on the basis of 2 games, I agree. There's some real good leadership qualities in there. But I'm going to draw us back to Ollie Clark as well. I know there was the bit of a stigma last season with not being able to, or the points tally being lower without him in the team, and I think that's with the strength and depth that we have this season, that's probably not the case. But his versatility playing through midfield or playing one of the 3 centre backs is is pretty much second to none in terms of leadership, I think. So we shouldn't forget him in the frame of things. And I was thinking in the context of, when we come to January, who would I not mind losing from the squad? And I was thinking, well, we want to keep Munro, we want to keep Snowden, don't want to see Kilkenny go. There actually was not a single player that I thought I wouldn't mind if he left. The strength that we have right the way through the squad, right through to players not even making the match day numbers, is I can't remember it's like in a way with this team, and a lot of it has to be down to Holloway. It's not just the strength and the quality of the players that we've brought in. It's how he's dealing with them. It's how he's dealing with them when they're not in the squad. It's how he's dealing with them when they're on the bench, when they start, so that actually when they come on, they are ready and raring to go and contribute to what we hope is the next victory. So we've got some excellent candidates in there that I hope we'll hang on to for the whole of the season, because that's really what is going to take us over the line, I think.
Yeah, I'll ask you, Declan. I know you talked about Aaron Drinan, but is there anyone else who stands out that we haven't mentioned? I mean, you could go through the whole team, couldn't you? And
you could. You could, yeah, absolutely, and that's a testament to Holly, I think, and the squad that he's put together, and the thinking behind the squad that he's put together. It's 10, 11 weeks to Christmas. January transfer window, is looming. There will be some interest in our players. There's no doubt about that. I'm sure that they're looking behind the scenes at the club as well of who they can potentially bring in January to maybe, if they feel in certain areas, to strengthen the team and to strengthen the squad. That, of course, can bring its own problems as well in terms of balance and keeping people happy. It's already a difficult task that he has, and he's doing it quite well at the moment. But to be sitting here, guys, almost at the middle of October, being enthusiastic and being positive about Swindon Town is absolutely fantastic. Compared to this time last year under Mark Kennedy, don't mention the war. But look, it's great times at the moment, and onwards and upwards to Stanley on Saturday. No doubt they're going to make it very, very difficult for it. Of course they will. But we've got to have it within our locker to develop a game plan to be able to overcome them. And I think the victory that we enjoyed against Newport recently was a fantastic victory for us, particularly defensively. The way we stood up when, 6 or 7 minutes injury time went up, looking at it on the box, I thought, oh, God, here we go. Are we going to concede in the 94th or 95th minute and come away with a point instead of 3, which we ultimately deserved to get on the day? Thankfully, we did. So, looking forward to that tussle on Saturday, I have to say.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, no doubt about it. Hi, Mark. At least a couple of games that we lost, we should have got at least a point. I said at the start of the season, we will win the league. I'm touching the wood in front of me. Gary, hi, Gary. Munro's been consistently good. Great leap on him. Jerry says, I didn't realise Stuart Ripley was Connor's dad. I've learned something today. So there you are, Liam. Well done for that particular little slip, but it worked. So there you are. That's what it is. I always remember the FA Cup game at Carlisle. Special train. We had a welcoming party waiting for us coming off the train. Carlisle Higher League drew 1-1. We were brilliant that night. The replay 1-3-1. Biggest crowd for a few years that night. Okay. FA Cup memories then, Rob. What's your favourite, would you say?
I'm loving that reference back to the train to Carlisle. Malcolm Poskett scored the goal for Carlisle in both legs. I can remember that.
What
Malcolm
a great name.
Poskett. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we were fabulous in that game at Carlisle as well, because we weren't expected to get a draw. That was a really good draw. And we then went to Burnley in the following round on the special train again. And it comped out at Crewe, so we had to get another train to pull us forward. So it was all those fun and games memories. But I'll take you back to another one on the special train, actually, which wasn't a particularly great result for us, but the 5-0 defeat at Newcastle.
Oh gosh, yes.
That was a very memorable day on the FA Cup trail, with Paul Gascoigne playing one of his first games for Newcastle and basically ripping us to shreds. And train didn't arrive till 3:00. We ended up missing the first 25 minutes, but it was still 0-0 by the time we got there, because Gascoigne decided to wait comfortably until we all turned up to take us apart. So that was all very good. We've had, to be fair, good memories, hard to come by, aren't they? We remember a lot of poor defeats. Macclesfield 2 consecutive seasons. Cheltenham, hammering there. Stevenage got hammered at Stevenage. There's been many a poor moment, but I suppose if we try and relate it back to the type of draw we've just had with Rotherham, was it the year we played Man City that we beat Huddersfield at home? We definitely beat Huddersfield at home. We were top of League One at the time.
Oh no, that was
a couple of seasons before, was it?
Yeah, it was when we played Wigan. Yeah.
That's right, Wigan. That's right. Yeah, so that was the start of a good cup run for us, wasn't it? Because that was we reached the fourth round. That was the Leicester defeat, wasn't it? The fourth round that year.
That's right.
So you never know. We don't tend to play League One teams too often when we're in League Two. So I think we've got an opportunity here, which we don't normally get. I think the last good positive first round performance that we put in was that hammering we gave Crewe a few seasons ago in FA Cup first round day. We won 3-0 there and played extremely well. So
we did, yeah.
There are some good memories, but the ones that tend to stay in my mind are the nasty defeats, unfortunately.
Imagine being on that train and being due to be the commentator on Newcastle versus Swindon, right? Just imagine that. And the pressure of getting off the train after the two breakdowns and walking through the centre of Newcastle and trying to get in position before doing the commentary on that game. Just imagine that. Who would have done that, do you think?
I wonder.
I wonder. Mirandinho, of course, also played for them, didn't he?
Yeah.
Brazilian that day on that incredibly muddy pitch. Yeah.
I maybe shouldn't bring this up, but wasn't there a bet on that game?
Let's move on swiftly.
Sorry, just asking for a friend.
Oh dear.
Yes. Let's move on swiftly, my lad. Gus, what are your FA Cup memories? No, I was going to ask you actually. There aren't any similar competitions in American sports. I guess you could talk about the playoffs, I suppose, and there is in the MLS. There are the League's Cup, which very strangely has an S on the end of league, but there aren't any FA Cup type competitions.
I was trying to think when I was reading about it this morning. I was trying to figure out kind of what it was like here, and the only thing that I can come up with is the collegiate basketball tournament. And the reason I say that is 64 teams get in, but some of those teams have won their conferences, and that gets them the right to go play in the big dance and March Madness. And a lot of times these conferences like the Ivy League or the Mid-America Conference are not particularly good, but the winner gets to go, and they usually end up playing. They'll be seated 16th in their bracket, and they're playing the number 1 seed. So a lot of times you have these really minor teams. An example from a few years ago was a team named St. Peter's that had 2,200 undergraduates in the college, made it to the tournament and beat Purdue, which was a number 1 seed that had 40,000 students, and they beat them. Every once in a while you get these just complete out of nowhere giant killer moments. And then they went on 2 more rounds and made it to the Elite 8, the top 8 in the country. Out of nowhere. And then they haven't done anything since then. So, that maybe is about as close as we have, where you get disparate teams playing each other with the possibility of this kind of David and Goliath moment.
Yeah, well, we'll wait to see, of course, whether Rotherham v Swindon in the FA Cup is chosen for FA Cup televised games. It's always a possibility. No, says Mark. I know, well, it is a possibility, though, Mark, isn't it? It could be on telly, or you don't think so?
Very slim one, I guess. Yeah.
There's a lot juicier ones that have come out of that. Things like Cardiff and Huddersfield. That will be on BBC Wales, won't it?
Yeah. Your favourite memory, Mark? I mean, you've already mentioned it, really, but
I'm going to take you back to January 1980 and Spurs at the County Ground. We just played Wolves in the League Cup semi-final. We had 2 full houses of 26,000 at the time. That was a capacity at Swindon, and obviously we'd beaten Wolves thanks to an Alan Mays winner 2-1, and we then had Spurs at the County Ground literally 4 days later, and it was 0-0. And if you remember, Spurs side contained the likes of Ardiles, Hoddle, Ricky Villiers and co. And we played really well. I think it was probably a fair result on the day. People who were there probably remember that one of the burger vans at the back got burned, I think, and it was all going on, all kicking off after the game. But it was brilliant. I mean, you never forget days like that. We then went to White Hart Lane, as it was then, I think in midweek, lost 2-1, 47,000 there, and about 3,000 Swindon fans locked out. So it's no wonder, is it, that people like me remember times like that. The Everton replay, after the 2-2 at the County Ground, again, we lost 2-1. But one of the things that really bugs me at the moment, I have quite a few things that bug me, is the lack of FA Cup replays. And then,
well, this goes to a point that Dean's made. Does FA Cup go to extra time or straight to penalties? And if I remembered Accrington, it went to extra time. And penalties, didn't it, last year in the second round?
Why are Premier League sides saying we play too much football and we can't possibly, grant these lesser teams these minnows and FA Cup replay when they then go abroad and then they go and play these tournaments? I mean, it boils down to greed. It's one thing only, and that's greed. They should be playing FA Cup replays and giving the likes of Swindon a chance to A, do well in the competition, but B, earn some much needed money. But
Mark, I agree with you. March, I agree with you. They've also said that the first and second rounds can't have replays. Well, what's that got to do with the Premier League?
No, that's crazy. No,
they all have to play vital international friendlies like England against Wales last week.
Yeah, despite all that, remember, everyone who's qualified for the first round proper have had to potentially go through 4 rounds of replays. Because in the non-league side of it, they do have replays. So the teams that end up playing about 60 or 70 games a season, they don't complain about it, do they?
No. There's no consistency then at all, is there, in that, other than you give, again, the Premier League teams, more time, more money and more coverage and less for the likes of Swindon.
I just wonder how much more they can dilute this great competition. The FA are doing their very best year on year to dilute this great competition.
Correct.
From the final, which used to be religiously 3 o'clock, it could be 4:30, it could be 5 o'clock now, it could be 20 to 5. Who knows? Crazy stuff. But you got to respect your traditions in the game, and unfortunately, it's still the greatest cup competition in the world. I think we all agree on that, but it has been diluted significantly over the last number of years by the powers that be that run it.
Liam, it's interesting what Lewis was saying earlier, Lewis Ward, that they expected Man City to put a youth team out, didn't they, in that great night that we had at the County Ground, and yet they basically had a first team. I mean, there were some fantastic players out there. He saved a penalty from Gabriel Jesus. And, there was the German international midfielder whose name's escaped me for the moment. I don't know why, because he's one of my favourite players.
Gundogan.
Gundogan. Yeah, absolutely. And
they had 10 internationals, Vic, and the only one that wasn't was Cole Palmer, who was man of the match.
Yeah, exactly. So the problem is, I guess, even if you get through to round 3 and you say draw, I don't know, Arsenal at home, there's no guarantee you're going to get an Arsenal team. You're going to get an Arsenal under 21 or Arsenal youth team, aren't you?
Yeah, Liverpool do that, don't they, every
year?
And they don't take. Well, I agree with Declan. It's not taking the FA Cup. It's not sponsored by anybody. It's the FA Cup, and that's the end of it. And I have another bee in my bonnet. It's not English Football League. It's the Football League. It was always called that because it was the very first football league. And I think there's some of the traditions that we've just sold our soul for the sake of television and sponsorship. And now I'm starting to sound like Mark Merrin, really, getting bees in my bonnet, really. It's something about being in your 60s, Mark, which will be enough. But I think I just think, if they do play their second team, I mean, they do get bitten sometimes, Vic, these teams, don't they? Because they play those second teams and they get knocked out. And then
they down at Plymouth last season, for instance.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very true. It's very true. And then when they have got the 4th round weekend off, I'm sure they're off to the Middle East to have another friendly game or a rest period or whatever that they all do. It's the FA Cup, and that's the end of it. And what happened this year? Crystal Palace get demoted down to down into the whatever that UEFA Cup is called, the last. Because the other team that's owned by the other director is seen as a higher league position than a cup winners. And that's the point.
Well, that happened here in Ireland as well. Here in Ireland. Our team who won the cup, Drogheda United, who were in the Conference League, were promptly thrown out of the Conference League because of that very reason. Now, I see in one of the papers today that they're thinking about changing that rule for next season. Crystal Palace are still in European football next season, unlike our poor boys over here at the moment. But I suppose, the rules are the rules and you have to abide by them.
But doesn't Forest's owner have two interests in another club? Or am I wrong there?
In Greece, I think he does, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a bearer with a very small brain. So how does that work? And Palace doesn't. Anyway, there we go. We can
I think we're in different
competitions. He doesn't completely own the club in Greece.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Anna, your FA Cup memories. Like Mark, you go back to the golden days of floodlit football, jumpers for goalposts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could do. I'm kind of on Rob's side in a way that I remember more of the bad results than the good ones. I recall also the Tottenham game, but I wanted to mention one of my bugbears, which is half and half scarves. If I see half and half scarves at any point in this FA Cup run that we're going to have, maybe, I'm not going to mention where I might like to put it. But what planet do people think they're on when they wear a half and half scarf? And I recall that because Rob mentioned the Leicester game, which I think was probably one of their first seasons at the King Power, maybe. Going up there and seeing half and half scarves, Swindon and Leicester. Who wants to buy this stuff? Who really wants to have that around their shoulders? Can you imagine if you had a Swindon Oxford tie and you had a Swindon Oxford half and half scarf? I mean, so that I just wanted to get that off my chest as we're ranting a little bit. So yeah, let's create some new memories this season. Let's create something different rather than going back to 1980, which is 45 years ago. I just wanted to point that out. So let's create some new stuff. Let's not be complacent. Let's try and pull something out of the bag at the New York Stadium, and let's get over the line into the third round, maybe.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I just explained, Gus. Anna's described it pretty well. That if there's a big cup tie, say when we played Manchester City a few years ago, you could buy a scarf which had Swindon on one side, on one half of it, Man City on the other. It would have the date of the cup tie, and sometimes it's spelt wrongly as well, which is always a great giveaway. The fact that you're paying £10 for something which is not brilliant. So there you are, a half and half scarf. That's what it is. I have seen people with half and half shirts, of course, which is another factor to take into consideration. These are all memorabilia stuff, which we'll explain in a minute, Gus, because you have them in the States, we have them here. Declan, what can we do about this disillusionment with the FA Cup then by the big teams? Because is one thing you could put them in the Champions League. I mean, to me, there are two trophies that teams could realistically win in the top flight. The first one's the League Cup. They don't take that seriously. Newcastle did last season and won it, got into Europe. The FA Cup's another one. I don't understand it. It's like the EFL trophy with us, or the FL trophy, Liam, sorry. The English Football League with Newport, Cardiff and Wrexham and Swansea in it. Yes, indeed. So what can we do to stop this?
I don't think you can, to be honest. I don't think you can. I think it's gone too far the other way. I think the big clubs have far too much power. Liverpool, Chelsea. I was going to say Manchester United, but not anymore. Other teams have aspirations about Champions Leagues and all the rest of it. And the FA Cup is almost considered perhaps a bit of a nuisance to them because obviously they put out weakened teams. But I don't think, Vicky, can do an awful lot about it. I think it's gone too far. People like us and other of the rest of the Football League clubs will do their best to maintain the traditions and believe in the FA Cup. And it will always be there, but never in the same way that it was before, unfortunately. I personally don't think you can do an awful lot to save it at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, great shame. Right, Rob, this is a question for you, I think. Sean says, can you please enlighten me? I seem to have a missing space in my life of watching Swindon. When did we last play at the New York Stadium? Was it during COVID? Seems we played there before that. If so, I'm trying to work out how the heck I missed it. There's I had a message from Rich saying that we played there and lost 2-1 during COVID. Did we?
Consecutive seasons, but it wasn't COVID. We definitely didn't play them during the COVID season. It was, I think it was 2013 and 2014. First time we went up there, we won 4-0. Second time we went up there, we lost 2-1.
Right, fair enough. Okay, so the last time we played there, we lost 2-1. That's the last time we played them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that answers that question. Half and half scarves, Rob. I know you've got plenty of them in your drawer. What are your thoughts on? Yeah.
I despise half and half scarves. We're on a bit of a rant tonight, aren't we? So we might as well just carry on. Yeah, absolutely. Anna's picked up probably the biggest pet hate that I've got in football, which is half and half scarves. But I'll throw another one into the ring, as we like a good rant tonight. Managers from Premier League teams who go out and play under-21 teams in the FA Cup and then go on to the television interview either before or afterwards and say how seriously they love the FA Cup and all of its traditions. You cannot find anybody more two-faced than a Premier League football manager, I'm afraid. And there are many of them in that camp. And when you talk about the traditions of football and the fact that the FA Cup has now long since sold its soul to the devil, I'm afraid, as far as football is concerned. I'd love to believe we'll get it back, but we won't, which is why the first and the second round now become so much more important, because there are non-league teams in there who will still treat the FA Cup like all of its traditions. And we go back to our draw against Rotherham. It's not what you would call a glamorous draw. It's not the one I don't think the television will pick. But I can't wait to watch on television somebody from the non-league at home to somebody from the Football League, because that's where you find proper FA Cup ties again. And that whets the appetite for all of us who remember special days from the FA Cup. That's what it's all about. That is its traditions. The chance of David beating Goliath. There is the opportunity there, and there's no other cup competition like it in the world, as you said before. And the fact that we now see Premier League managers dilute it, and to be fair, it's not only Premier League managers, it's Championship. The Championship teams put out reserve teams half the time, and when they get to when they're in the third round draw as well. So I just find it a real shame, because it's one of those traditions that all of us have grown up with, and we just love that FA Cup draw. Even tonight, there was a buzz about the place because it was the FA Cup draw, and it's just a shame that we can't get that same level of enthusiasm across the entire Premier League network. When you talk about them scrapping FA Cup replays, I remember I just talked about Newcastle earlier on. We won at Norwich in the replay.
Yeah, great night. Yeah,
in the third round to get to that game at Newcastle, and that was a fantastic performance at Norwich.
Yeah, it was.
And quite a lot. If you look back at a lot of those memories that we've just been talking about, Mark and they both mentioned replays, games that were replays. Everton away, Tottenham away. All these sort of games that we've had before now. That first game, memorable as it was always superseded then usually by a replay that was quite entertaining. If you take the FA Cup out of it, let's go back to Bolton in the League Cup. 3 replays. I mean, it was fantastic. Set a time to be a Swindon fan. Not when you were sat in the car park at Bolton and you realise you've got to go back up there again the following Tuesday because you'd lost the toss of a coin. But at least it was fabulous times, because you never knew what you were going to get next, and you had games coming thick and fast. Fantastic when you're a true football fan.
And then Ross McLaren getting winner. Go on, Declan.
So I was going to say, from a revenue point of view now, when it comes to the third round, although you want to see the big clubs at the county ground, naturally enough, from a financial point of view, it's better to go to the Etihad or the Emirates or whatever, and get more money from the tie, which says a lot about it as well, I think.
The fourth game against Bolton, Ross McLaren deep into injury time getting the winner. That was the biggest relief I think anybody's ever felt, because another game, 5. Memorabilia, Gus. I mean, we've let you into a little dark secret today. I'm glad I didn't put my half and half scarves up. That would have been real trouble, wouldn't it? But we often, it's a bit like, I suppose, I'm just trying to think, the New York Jets against the New York Giants and there being a half and half scarf. Would that happen? Or even worse, the Boston Red Sox against the New York Yankees. That wouldn't happen, would it?
No, it wouldn't happen. And I can tell that this is a sore subject, because I always thought of Rob as being fairly mild-mannered, but he is fired up about this. And also, I can also tell that the FA Cup is very meaningful. And what you're saying, I mean, it really matters to you. And that's really nice to see. I'm learning a lot here. No, I mean, when somebody said, having, two teams on one. The only reason I could think that is if I had two sons and they were both playing on different sides. I'd do that. Otherwise, I can't imagine, who would want to buy something like that. Unless you're just maybe a tourist from Japan or the US who doesn't know anything and just, wants to have a piece of memorabilia. I don't have any idea.
Well, when you come over and you grace us with your presence, we'll point you in the direction of the half and half scarf person.
Well, I'm glad to know now not to get one. So thank you. I appreciate the.
We'll get you a proper scarf. Don't worry.
Pariah.
I know we're running out of time. Can I just take maybe 20 seconds and say one thing that I wanted to say before we finish too? I was trying to figure out why we're better this year, why we're doing well this year. And the obvious answer is we're scoring 30% more goals than we scored last year. We're scoring more goals. We are taking 27% more shots than we did last year, and we're getting 43% more shots on target. We're playing much better offense than we played last year. We have 22 goals after 11 games. Last year we had 12. We're also scoring a lot more in the first half now than we did before. Last year we were scoring 6.1 goals in the first half, and now we're scoring 1.27. So we're getting out to leads. If you remember last year, and I have the stats, I won't bore you, we would wait until the 90th minute and then score a goal to go ahead. We were scoring at the end a lot of times. Now we're getting ourselves a lead early on. We're just playing well. I did look at defense too, and we're doing better in defense, but not a lot better. Not a lot better. Last year at this time, after these games, we had let in 13 goals, and now we've let in 15. So I've got a lot of other stats, but our defense is about 25% of our success, and our offense is about 75% of our success from the stats that I can get online.
Well, they're very attractive stats because we like people scoring goals. That's the thing. That's what. And then VAR delaying goal celebrations. That's another one. Semi-finals at Wembley. Why? Says Kevin. That's another one. Yeah. Oh gosh. Maybe we could do a whole program on stuff that makes Mark Merriman rant.
Yeah. Can I say something, please? And it's not a rant. It's actually a shout out to a very dear friend of ours, Alan Leach, at the moment, who's in hospital in GWH. He's a lifetime Swindon Town fan. His son Brian is flown over from Brisbane, and he may well be watching this program. And Alan has been really, really poorly for probably a number of weeks, and I said to Bri that I would give him a shout out. So Al, we're all rooting for you here. We're thinking of you. We've had so many times where we've been at football together, both home and away. So, I hope you really pull through. And Bri, if you're watching this, love to you and your dad and everything else. And Anna and Liam will know exactly who I'm talking about.
Well said, Mark. Good man, a good man.
Yeah, well, we send our very best wishes. I mean, they're all part of the Swindon Town family. And
yeah.
Whatever your views on whatever is going on, wherever it is, we all want one thing, and we want that football team to do well, don't we? And we give a great deal of our lives to that football team.
Yeah. Good. It's got to be this season. I think we've, all the cards are stacked in the right direction. I think we've got to aim this season not to be in the playoffs, but to be in the top three. I think that's got to be the aim, and it's a realistic one given the squad that's been assembled.
Yeah, and I think that's what keeps us going, isn't it? The moment of glory. I've got to say, I hope we don't get promotion at Grimsby on the 25th of April for a very special reason, for which I won't reveal yet. But it means I can't be there that day because of something that's happening the following day, which is already burning away inside me. So I've got to try and figure out how to get from Grimsby to London for the 26th of April. So somebody can let me know how to do that. That'd be great.
Sorry, Vic, if I could just say something about our Irish Cup final, which is in a couple of weeks' time here. There will be Swindon representation on the pitch that day, which is November the 9th at the Aviva Stadium, because Conor Brann, our former goalkeeper, will be playing for Cork City in that cup final against Shamrock Rovers on the 9th of November. So the best of luck to Conor in that particular game.
And Matty Kovar, our erstwhile goalkeeper from Manchester United, was playing for the Czech Republic against the Faroe Islands this week, and the Faroe Islands won by 2-1.
With a very big mistake made by him.
I mean, they're on a roll, the Faroe Islands, aren't they? They're going really well. So
never forget, he likes 2-1 performances. Does Matty Kovar,
Yeah.
Oxford away, COVID season, never forget.
Yeah, fair enough. Gus, I hope you've learned a little bit. You are part of the Swindon Town family now, so like it or not, whatever comes next, there it is. It's there in front of you. Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you for bearing with me with the internet problems earlier on in the day. Thank you to Lewis Ward also for joining us whilst not on a roof putting tiles up, which is very good of him. And it's nice to get a player's perspective. And Chris, are you there?
I am. Thank you very much, everybody. Yes, that's been a bit of a epic night, isn't it? An hour and a half. Oh my gosh. So yes, my thanks to Lewis as well. So it's always nice to have a player on.
And we should
just
say
to
thanks
shout,
to Callum to organising it as well. So
I've sent them a note as well. So I have. So thank you for everybody. Just one thing from me. Junior Reds on Saturday the 25th at the Colchester game. It's Halloween in the Junior Reds room. So it's anybody can go down there and fancy dress. There'll be lots of competitions and lots of activities and all sorts. So big shout out for that. Okay, so Vic and I will see you next week. Oh, Vic's holding his hand up. Go on.
I better say thank you very much to Roy and Heather for their hospitality this evening, without which I would not have been able to take part in this programme. So I do thank you very much indeed. Thanks
very much, Roy and Heather. Much appreciated that we had Vic. So there you go. So Vic and I will see you next week. We are hoping, unless anything happens, that we have Martin Ling on. So that'll be nice to catch up with him. So that's next Monday. But until then, see everybody at Accrington who are going. And if not, we will see you at Colchester. So have a good week or 2 weeks until the next home game. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.